Hey team, welcome back. MrBeatCoder here. In today's Git lesson, we're going to understand staging and commit and Git. So let's continue from our previous lesson. So we've placed our Selenium framework files into this folder path. I've changed up where the file path is because I was getting access denied in one of the folders. So let's use this because we're just trying to push code into GitHub, so it doesn't matter where we put it in our local. So please remember, in this lesson we're dealing with version control system and how we track project activity with different people. So this is when people are working together on one common project. So we've created this GitHub repository, logged in. So there's nothing to do with any specific tools. Git is used for automation and development, so either web, mobile, API, unit testing, anything. And developers use GitHub to push their code as well. So let's open up command prompt again. Actually, I had already done that. So open up command prompt and we are going to navigate to our folder path. So I had already done that. So let's do it again, team. So let's open up command prompt and we're going to put in cd, and then we're going to navigate to this folder path, which is where I've placed some files, which is actually our Selenium framework, but we can put any files there because we're just practicing pushing code. So let's navigate in command prompt, navigate to the file path. Excellent, so we're there. So first we need to actually initialize this folder so that GitHub can understand it and accept any files coming from this file path. So to make our folder for GitHub to understand, we need to give the following command. So at our project level, we put in git space init. So it's also in here. So let's create a new local repository, git init, so initializes. It actually even shows it in here, team. So let's go to git basics. It also shows it as the first command that we need to put when we create a new repository. So there's a lot of hints and guides everywhere, team. So let's do this first. So git init. Excellent. So you initialize empty git repository in C drive. So what it actually does is it creates this .git file in our folder path. See? So we're basically initializing a git file into our project. So if GitHub wants to read our local project file, there will be a file which Git opens and takes the code. So by default, this file will not be present when we look in the folder path in the Explorer. And to create a file in a project where we want to push our GitHub, we need to give this command. So if you look in here, although it doesn't show in here, it's a hidden file. If we unhide it, it will show up. But this message already says that it's created that .git file in there. So we've initialized it. And once the .git file is initialized and created in our folder, then we're all set to start pushing our code to GitHub from our folder we provided. So please remember to give the command git init in our folder level before we do any operation with our project. So next step is we need to commit. So there are two terminologies we need to understand now. So please watch this and understand this lesson very carefully, but we'll learn together, team, so don't worry, and you can rewatch it and we can practice it together. So it is because it's very important for us to progress in the Git lessons. The two terminologies are called staging, which can also be referred to as stash, but we're going to call it staging, and then commit. So I've also created a diagram that we can follow. So we'll talk through this as we go, team. So we've written some code, team, and we've initialized it in a Git repository with the command git space init. So let's if we come from this, so this is initiate staging and commit to GitHub. So we're going to talk about the staging and commit process, but actually there's also the initialize folder, so that's why I added in here. So once we've got our local folder, we can call our local repository. Our code or our files are placed in there into this local file path, which is what I'm referring to as here. This file, these files here. So first we initialized our folder, so that GitHub can understand and accept it. So that's what we've done. We've at our project level in the command prompt, we put git init, and it's created that .git file in there. So we've done this step already. So now we need to first add our code to stash or staging. Sorry, let's actually call it staging. So from local folder to staging. So when we give a command to push our code to GitHub, GitHub looks into the code which is committed. So it will not touch the code which is not committed, team. So for example, if we had 100 files, and out of the 100 files we only want 80 files to be ready to be pushed into GitHub. So there are 20 files which we don't want to commit right now. So then we would only commit 80 files and don't commit the rest of the 20 files. So when we say push, GitHub would not actually take all the 100 files. First it looks at how many files are committed. So in this process here, we'll go through this, team, don't worry. So if GitHub sees only 80 of the files committed, it will only accept the 80 files and publish it to GitHub repository in our last step here. So this is the concept. So without committing, we cannot push the code into our GitHub repository. So now, for example, if we don't commit any files and say push, so if we just went from here and we just said push the code to GitHub without these two in the middle, this process is not going to work, because GitHub will only accept the code when the code is committed. So it has to go through this process, team. So we don't commit any files and say push. GitHub simply says there's nothing for it to accept because we have not committed anything. So now what is staging? So first, when we write some code and develop something, our commit accepts the file from staging. So staging is like the first level of commit. So from our diagram, so once we've got that, we've put our files in our project folder in here, we have to go to our first level of commit, which is staging. So this is the first level of commit. So we need to do a command, team. So I've written it here. So at the git command at the project level, we have to put in this command. So we'll actually do this, team. So first we do the staging, and then it goes to the second level of commit, which we'll actually call commit if we talk about it technically. So GitHub has introduced this concept of having two levels of commit. So the first level of commit is staging, and the second level of commit, we're going to call it commit. Sorry for the terminology, but we're going to go through with the diagram as we do our command, so it'll be very clear. So now we want to when we want to commit to the second level, commit only looks for the files which are in the staging, and then it commits. So for the code to go to this commit to second level, it has to have gone through this level. So it can't go from local repository to the second level of commit, team. So this is the order. Commit only takes the code which is committed, and so GitHub only takes when it's committed, and commit only takes the code when it's in staging. So it has to follow this process. So therefore, if we want to push any code to GitHub, first we need to add it to our code to our stash. So then we can commit the code from staging and place it to commit. So from here to here, and then we can push our code directly to GitHub. So that final step from code to GitHub. Excellent. So now how do we add the files to staging, team? Assume that we are adding all our code to staging for now. Later on we'll learn to add a few files to staging and not commit the remaining. So at the moment we're going to add all of our files in our Git basics folder to staging and commit second level and then to GitHub. So firstly we need to move our code from our local project folder to staging by inputting the following command. So it is at the project level git add, and then star means add is a command which says that we're adding all our files to staging, and star represents in everything in that folder. So please note, if we want to add the specific file, we will, instead of putting star, we'll place the complete file path. So now we want to add it, so let's put in git.add. So we're going to follow, so we're going to put in from local to project, we're going to go to staging. So we're going to put in git add star at the project level in the command prompts, team. So let's do it, team. So git add and then space star. Cool. So that means it's done. It's copied all our files. Sorry, not copied. It's placed all our files under git basics into the staging to the level 1 of commit. So now we're here. So now we are ready to push our code to the second level of commit. So once completed, we input the following command to see what files are added to staging. So then we can see what files. So let's do this. Git status. Excellent. So all of these files that we've put in are in the staging. So it even says that these files needs to be committed if we want to go further, team. But don't worry about remembering all these commands as well. There are many guides, as I mentioned before. There's this basic Git Commands user guide that we can use, and also even in here it actually has that git add. So the add files is there if you want to add all the files star, and then if it's git add, you put in the file path, file path name. So now our code is in the staging, and commit only looks at the code which is already in staging now, right? Now we want to commit our code. So let's, again, we can follow the command guidelines. So all in here. So git commit message first commit. So we're going to go from staging to commit. So let's do it, team. So what is it? So git, let's put this. So commit means committing to the second level. So commit, and then m stands for the message. So we just need to provide a message for this commit. So let's go from here again. So git commit -m, and then our message, right? Let's call it first ever commit. Awesome. So it's done. So we've committed all our 35 files. So it's ready. It's in the commit. So it's in the second level of commit, and now we're ready to push our code to the GitHub repository, team. The last step. So now we've committed, and now our code is at the commit point. So now this is how we push code level by level. So if we just inputted the push command from the very first, from here to GitHub, it wouldn't have worked. We must go through the initiate, staging, and then commit before we can push it to code to GitHub repository. So now it's time to push our code from the commit level to the GitHub repository level. So let's learn how to do this in our next lesson, team. So in our next lesson, we're going to focus on this part of our puzzle, team.